Let's be real for a second. Chances are every single app you use, every website you visit, it's probably running on a virtual machine somewhere. But have you ever stopped to think what happens when a company has thousands or even tens of thousands of them? How do you wrangle all that? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the elegant architecture that prevents total digital chaos, the VMware Virtual Machine Inventory. To really get it, I want you to picture this: an airport, a massive international airport with thousands of planes taking off and landing every hour. Now imagine there's no schedule, no flight paths, and absolutely no control tower. It would be pure chaos, right? That's exactly what you're looking at when you have thousands of virtual machines running wild without any central system. It's just a recipe for disaster. So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth do you manage a digital fleet that massive without the whole thing grinding to a halt? How do you keep an eye on everything, make sure it's all running smoothly, and keep it secure? Well, the answer is actually pretty brilliant. You manage it the same way you'd manage thousands of airplanes. You build a sophisticated, centralized air traffic control system, but one that's designed specifically for your virtual world. And in the VMware universe, that control tower, that single source of truth that sees everything, that's the virtual machine inventory. It really is the unsung hero that brings a beautiful sense of order to all that potential chaos. So what is this thing exactly? Look, it's way, way more than just a simple list or a spreadsheet. Think of it as a living, breathing, dynamic catalog of every single piece of your virtual infrastructure. We're talking about the VMs themselves, the servers they run on, the networks they connect to, the storage they use, the whole shebang. Now, you might be wondering, what's the brain behind this whole operation? That would be a platform called vCenter Server. It's the central command, the intelligence that's constantly updating the inventory, monitoring every little thing, and giving administrators the power to actually manage this massive fleet. Okay, so we get what it is, but how is it all put together? What does the anatomy of this thing actually look like? Let's break it down. The inventory is built from a few core components, or what VMware calls objects. And just like our airport has runways, terminals, and gates, this virtual world has its own building blocks. You've got the physical servers, the ESXi hosts that are the ground crew. You have clusters of those servers for more power, data stores for all the luggage and cargo, and of course the virtual machines themselves. And this is where it gets really clever. All those building blocks are organized into a super clear, logical hierarchy. Right at the top, you have the data center. Think of that as an entire continent. Inside that continent, you have clusters, which are like the different countries. Each country has its own hosts, which are the airports. And finally, taking off and landing at those airports are the individual virtual machines, our fleet of planes. Now, that's a really neat way to organize everything, I'll give you that. But why? Why does the structure matter so much? What makes it absolutely mission critical for any big IT shop? It all comes down to one powerful idea: a single pane of glass. That's the magic phrase. Instead of the air traffic controller running from window to see different parts of the airfield, they can see the entire airspace from one single screen. That's the power the inventory gives you: total control from one spot. And once you have that single viewpoint, oh man, the benefits just start rolling in. You get complete visibility and control, which means finding and fixing problems in minutes, not hours. You can spot a rogue VM or lock down a vulnerability instantly because everything's organized and secure. You can watch performance to stop bottlenecks before they even happen, which saves a ton of money. And maybe best of all, you can automate almost everything. It's like putting your entire infrastructure on a very smart autopilot. Seriously, the transformation is just night and day. You go from this messy, disorganized, and vulnerable environment to something that is beautifully structured, buttoned up, and highly automated. It's a complete game changer. All right, enough of the high-level theory. What does this actually look like for the sysadmins, the folks on the ground who are managing this stuff every single day? Let's see the inventory in action. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. An admin can bring a new VM online just by pointing to its config file. It's called the .vmx file. That's like handing the control tower a new flight plan. Simple. They can instantly dive into performance charts if a user complains something is slow, or apply super specific security rules to protect critical data. You know those constant software updates? They can update something called VMware Tools across the entire fleet with just a few clicks. And when the auditors come knocking, they can generate reports to prove everything is secure and compliant. It's all there. And that really brings us to our final thought for today. We've seen how this incredible inventory acts as a powerful command and control system. But let's be honest, these virtual fleets are only getting bigger and more complex, spanning multiple clouds and continents. So the real question becomes, what's the next frontier? What does the next generation of digital air traffic control even look like? And how will it keep our digital world flying high?